Ever wanted to know what it's like to be one of Melbourne's freelance auctioneers? Well, let's go. So my first auction this morning has been postponed for 2 weeks. The agent contacted me and said that they didn't have the engagement level that they really would have wanted by this stage of the auction campaign. So that's now running in 2 weeks' time. There's 2 schools of thought on that. Maybe we'll do a video on, because I know some of my colleagues would not agree with that strategy, so we might discuss that in another video. But I'm just on my way to Ormond now. Disappointing. So agents have had some good engagement in the campaign, but nobody turning up that is prepared to bid here today. So we have discussed running the auction in a couple of weeks' time, and trying to give it just that little bit of extra time to get some engagement from people, a little bit like the auction that was supposed to be running this morning. So I'm not sure. We just discussed changing the price. Was a price barrier? Apparently not. Nobody's had any qualms about the price range. Presentation is very good, so don't have to worry about any of that sort of thing. So price, presentation, location is really good. Like we're right next to the train line. Great cafes and restaurants. Heaps of schools around here. Goodness me, like there's just schools galore. So really disappointing that it hasn't had that engagement that it should have done. So that's it for me today. 2 from 2 getting postponed. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. But it does show that there's a little bit of instability in the market at the moment. People are hesitant to, commit to anything because they are thinking that, okay, well now they're talking about interest rates potentially being lowered, not necessarily by the RBA. I think the RBA has already said that it's going to be a good sort of 6 or 7 months. I think they were mentioning, which I worked out was around February or end of January, before interest rates might see a decline. But some of the banks independently may start dropping rates. So then people obviously are thinking that, they're going to have more money, or that will affect the value of properties. But the thing is that you don't buy a property today and own it today. You buy a property today and you own it in 30, 60, 90, 120 days time. So if those changes are going to take effect, they take effect before you even own the property and have to start paying repayments for it. And if there is a little bit more confidence in the market with lower rates from particular banks, then that means more drive in the market, more interested people, more competition, higher prices. Hello? How are you? Yeah, so I just wanted to recap and perhaps throw a few suggestions for you for getting things moving a little bit. So first thing I wanted to ask is, have you had that same lead photo the entire campaign, the front shot? My first thinking was, okay, maybe like try and like relaunch it. See what happens, obviously, as we said, in this next week, if you just get any bites when it's now got the auction off the campaign. I would personally be changing it each week. So I would put like the internal 1 week, maybe the courtyard the next week, the kitchen the last week, and then the front, like mix it up. Because what happens is when people are looking through it, they're like, oh, I've seen that one. No, I don't like the look of that outside. And they move on. Whereas if you keep it fresh and keep it changing, people go, oh, what's that property? I haven't seen it before. And they click onto it. Where is she value-wise? What price was she hoping for? See how it all pans out, and then let's go from there, okay? Take care, bye. Okay. So that was just a follow-up call with the agent from the auction that no one turned up to today, just to discuss some strategies as to how to turn this around and get this property sold. Apparently, the vendor was talking about perhaps just putting a tenant in the property, and the agent was just saying then that there obviously, you could have a tenant that does some damage in the property and then you've got to pay for it. So there are pros and cons to that. There is a really great rental return, however, with this property. So sometimes if you can afford to hold on to your properties, then it is worthwhile. So let's see where this heads next week. I'm very intrigued to find out whether we are going to be going to auction in 2 or 3 weeks time, and when we can fit it in the diary, because my diary in 2 weeks time, which would be an ideal time, is completely chock-a-block. So it would have to be a Sunday auction or a Friday night or a Thursday night auction. So let's see what happens, and we will keep you posted.